Programmers, you have too much work and it's impossible to get it all done in a 40, 60, or even an 80-hour work week. This is often the problem for successful, talented software developers. Your time is valuable, and how can you schedule your time to be as productive as possible? This is not about writing macros and coding standards. I have other videos about that. This is about optimizing how you prioritize and schedule time to be super productive. Let's get started. First step, make a list. Write down all your current tasks. This is not a functional or technical document. These should be one-liner descriptions of the tasks that you have to do this week. Don't put anything on this list that doesn't need to be done this week. If you're worried about forgetting it, then put it in a different document for tasks to do later, and then you can start with that document next week. This list shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes to make, maybe up to an hour if you have a huge task list, but it is time well invested because it will make the rest of your week go so much better. Then, after you have your full list, which you will be adding to during the course of the day as you remember more items, categorize it into 3 categories. Number 1, tasks that you are the bottleneck and other people are waiting on you before they can do their project. Task number 2, or category 2, tasks that you can delegate. And then 3, everything else. Now, usually you want to do the first 2 items first. And that's because if you have a team that is working on the project, you want everybody to be as productive as possible so the entire project can be finished as soon as possible. You don't want to finish your project that takes a month and then others have to start after that project because they have a 2-week project that was reliant on one of the modules that you did and you didn't do that module to the end. No, do the module that other people are waiting on so that they can be productive. Do that first. That way they can be productive during the same month and the whole project will be completed weeks sooner because people are working in tandem. Tasks you can delegate. These can be easy little things that are tedious and time consuming, like writing the wiki documentation regarding the project that you're working on, or picking out the icons and graphics that are going to be used for the user interface, or even working on the API for that third party that you're integrating with. If you can pick some of these and delegate these to somebody else, this will save you a lot of time. Also, don't let your OCD get in the way of your productivity. If you're doing a third-party API integration and you're coming across some technical problem, don't bang your head and try to figure it out yourself. Just send that to the forum or to the API integrating company that you're working with and saying it's their problem, have them fix it or have them tell you how to fix it, since it is probably something that they come across all the time. Also, note, if you are a developer who is not overworked, then you might want to reach out to some of the high-level techs that you know and tell them that you're available to handle these tedious little tasks that they might want to delegate to you. Tell them that you'll build them some test data sets, or you'll do unit testing, or you'll write the documentation for the project they're working on, or you'll pick out the icons and the graphics for their user interface. This can save them a lot of hours and take the load off their shoulders. Plus, it can generate you some money working on the side. Quit unnecessary tasks. One way to be more productive is to stop wasting time on things you can avoid. For example, at work, notify your manager that you're spending way too much time in unnecessary meetings and see if you can reduce the number of mandatory meetings you have to go to. In your personal life, look to see if there's things that you can cut back on also, such as try ordering groceries online and having them delivered. This can save you hours per week. I could go on, but basically look at your personal life to see if there's anything that you can quit, delegate, or find alternatives to. You should be earning good money if you're this busy, and in which case, don't mow the lawn, pay somebody else to do it. Now to prioritize everything else. Categorize the remaining tasks into 3 things: complex tasks, easy tasks, no challenge tasks. A complex task is like programming or anything else that you find really challenging. Such as if you're doing design and you make a bad design decision, it could have a long-term negative impact on the project. If you are doing coding and you are off by a single character, you put in a semicolon instead of a colon, it could crash the entire code. So those are complex tasks. Easy tasks are things that you've done 100 times. They're really not that big of a challenge, but you still have to focus, like maybe writing a functional or writing a technical. This is really different for each person. What could be easy for one person might be considered a complex task for another person. It depends on your experience, like creating a SQL table. That could be easy for one person or complex for the next. On the easy tasks, you should also prioritize them based on time sensitivity, such as if some of the tasks you have to wait for a response on, like you're applying for an API or you're applying for a new Apple developer account. These types of things are time sensitive because after you do them, you have to wait for the response. So you want to do those easy tasks before you do the other easy tasks. No challenge tasks. These must be done, and sometimes they're very time consuming, but they're not really a mental challenge. Like picking out the icons for the UI or creating test data. Do not squander your best mental peak hours working on these types of tasks. Sometimes, hopefully, you can delegate these tasks. But if not, then schedule to do them at the end of the day when you're almost burnt out, or you can sometimes even multitask these type of projects. For example, this week I had an obligatory 4-hour Zoom meeting, and I was only really needing to interact 20% of the time. During the other 80% of the time, while listening, I also was able to create new thumbnails for this YouTube channel. So that's the type of task that you want to have in your no challenge list, things that you can do on the side when you don't need to give it 100% of your attention. In the zone. Most people do not realize that humans have peak and off-peak times. A time during the day or night, depending on if you're a morning person, day person, night person, when you're at your brightest, your smartest, you're able to focus the best. These are the times when you're in the zone. Now, when a programmer is in the zone, they are really productive and really effective. For example, they might be able to get a project done in 10 minutes. And if they're not in the zone, that same project could easily take 40 minutes because they got distracted in the middle. They made a single bug that took them a while to debug. They didn't think far enough ahead to realize there was a design flaw. So a 10-minute task can easily turn into 40 minutes. Now, if that happens 3 times in a day, then 30 minutes where you could have had 3 tasks done took 2 hours. So it's really important to get yourself into the zone, and when you're there, don't squander that time on menial tasks or easy mental acuity tasks. Focus on the very complex tasks while you're in the zone. Now, to help you get in the zone, remove all distractions. Turn off your email. Put your phone in airplane mode if possible. Close your door or have some sort of visual indicator that you're focusing so people know not to bother you. So that they know when you're in the zone, leave you alone, you're focusing. In summary, with all this in mind, you should schedule your most complex mental tasks to be done when you're at your peak mental acuity each day. Figure out what time that is and schedule those tasks for non-interruption. Turn off your email, turn off everything while you focus on the most complex tasks, and you'll get those tasks done way faster than if you try to do them when you're at your so-so mental acuity. Schedule your easy mental task for the rest of the day. Don't schedule the no mental acuity needed tasks at all. Do those when you can multitask during a Zoom meeting or while you're eating lunch, or even at night while you're watching Netflix. You can pick out those icons and graphics for the UI. This is what I recommend. Also, do not multitask while you're working on complex or even easy mental tasks. You may think, I'm saving time because I'm watching this tutorial that the boss requires us to watch, or this new information about a new language, I'm watching this video. You're not really saving time. If you're multitasking while you're working on a complex or an easy task, you're building a database, you're not giving 100% to either, don't do it. Don't multitask watching videos while you're supposed to be coding. Listen to music instead. I find that works very effectively for me, and not music videos, because that's still distracting. So just put on some music in the background, Pandora, Spotify, whatever your preference is, and focus on your work. Like if this has helped, and subscribe for more on the business of programming.